According to the World Health Organization, or WHO, the red meat isn't a carcinogenic. Now, from what I understand, they determine a carcinogenic as possible to cause cancer. So the industry is exploding. The industry of non-meats or plant-based food in the style or I don't know, the type of what we would call meat. So it's not just a fad diet anymore, they say. It's just really becoming gentrified and popular, and actually is too expensive for low-income families. So why is there this explosion with plant-based meats, these fake meats? Now, some of the reasons could be the fact that we've had epidemics of swine flu, in regards to pork and the problems and the disease that goes around. And once it's in with the animals, we don't want it to be passed on to humans. There's also aviation flu. Sorry, aviation? Avian flu, meaning from birds, bird flu. And then there's foot and mouth disease. And then there's also, going back to getting into the food supply, into humans, would be the BSE. I think it's something like bovine spongilophora osteopathy. So this cow disease that turns into CJD, something like Crackup-Jacob disease, which basically makes you go mad in your mind. So these flus and diseases and issues, not even talking about COVID and where that came from, but these problems with animals being intensely farmed, non-natural conditions for hundreds of animals in a small space, really has an impact on them getting diseases and then it being passed on to us. Now, I say passed on to us because back in 2013, in the UK, there was an issue with Tesco's and Findus, Burger King and IKEA and Whitbread pub chain all having meats that were horse meat, or at least been found to have partly horse meat in it. McAllister, an Irish horse dealer, Willie Stelton, and a meat cutting industry, and a few other big groups have been found to have lots of horse meat within their food and within their meats. So the EU believes growth hormone, for example, in beef is not safe, unlike the USA and Canada. And that's a big concern where you got, two different big countries competing and having issues with the EU over what's safe and what's not safe. For us consumers, it gets confusing. What do we trust? Who do we trust? So then we got multiples of documentaries talking about the treatment of animals and fish and how much they're altered and changed, and that gets into the supermarkets as well, finding out what's going on with this animals before we buy it and purchase it. We believe it's safe. Okay. Then if you look at other studies, scientific studies, unbiased scientific studies, there's a lot for the dairy and the fish industry pertaining to the legitimacy. And people are asking why humans drink cow's milk. So a Harvard study showed that there's links to calcium deficiency and issues with osteoporosis. Now, you could say for or against a scientific study, depending on who's paying the bill. What else we got? So Harvard also said that the countries with the highest milk consumption also have the highest amounts of osteoporosis. Okay, so that's kind of clear. But if you took that out of it, even if you said, all studies are I don't know, grey and smudged and altered, if you took all the studies away and you just used your common sense and you thought about it for a moment, ask yourself this question, thinking logically. Um, does any other mammal drink milk after weaning? So after the animal is grown up strong enough to eat its own food, you know, does it take milk from its parents, from its mother anymore? No, is the answer. So that's an interesting conversation. That's an interesting discussion. Okay, moving on from that. We've been standing up as sort of Homo erectus or bipeds for around between 3 to 7 million years, depending on who you listen to, who you talk to. 3 to 7 million. So if you went on the short end and you just said for 3 million years we've been standing up, the next question is, well, how long have we been eating food that was cooked? Now that studies are a bit more clear on that, and they claim 2 million years. So for 1 million years, our Homo erectus, bipeds, whatever you want to call it, has been eating food without meat. Or without cooked meat, anyway. Obviously, lots of gorillas and chimpanzees eat mites and small insects. But that's an interesting thought that we've only been having cooked food for no cooked food for over 1 million years. And if you looked at our closest ancestors, like the orangutans, the chimpanzees, and animals like that, they don't eat meat either. They're herbivores. Apart from the fact that those animals, the occasional orangutan or chimpanzee will murder and rape and pillage their own siblings and members of the pack. We're all a bit skew-if in our societies. But generally, they don't eat other meats. And if you wanted to get into the biology of it, if you look at our jaws, we masticate sideways like a cow. We don't bite up and down generally in most of our food. Also, our intestines are much longer than most other animals. And so that's very different as well. Our claws are very different to most animals. We can't really scratch the back of a cow's backside or legs and bring it down with our claws. Or our night vision. You can't run around with our human eyes in the dark and find prey. It's just not there. And I said about our closest neighbor are chimpanzees and monkeys, and they just are herbivores as well, don't eat meat. And the fact that we don't like the smell of roadkill or dead animals, it's not natural to us. We don't like that. A dog would like to see a dead rabbit. He would be interested in that because a dog is a carnivore or a omnivore if you prefer, but depending on your view. Anyway, if you do, the second part with that would be, like I said, about how long we've lived without food, without cooked food. So over 1 million years. So those are two interesting aspects: the biology and the history. 1 million years without heated food. That's interesting points. Okay, but no matter your diet and your food choices, it's clear that the more processed and involved, the higher the risk of contaminants and making us sick from over processed or molested food, if you will. The more people get involved with our food and the less original and whole it is, the more problems we have with it. So my answer would be eat healthy and unchanged foods. Preferably organic as well, because pesticides is another ball game connected with dementia and things like that. But one step at a time, one step at a time. All right, what's your ethics on and values on food? And your, let me know in the commitments. What do you think about meats, butters, margarines, and all these foods that have been altered by humans? Let me know. It'd be very interesting to find out. All right. Yeah, that's it. I think it's very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And please, if you like this video, do like it and hit the subscribe button. Most of my viewers aren't subscribed, which really impacts my I don't know, algorithm scores, whatever. It doesn't help. But just take a moment to enjoy the, did you call it apiary? The beehives behind. I've been a bit careful of trying not to get stung, trying not to be too much of a nuisance. All right, thank you very much. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.